All right, for lower body warrior recharge, we're gonna start with the calves. And I like to use a kettlebell to roll out the calves, or you can use a lacrosse ball or a foam roller, whatever your choice. I just like using a kettlebell because it really digs into the tissue. But you're just gonna start mid calf, or you can start low, and you're basically just kind of rolling side to side. Find the real tender spots, and then those are the areas that we want to really focus in on. But you kind of bring your toes towards your shins, point the toes away, and those will expose different tight areas that we need to work on. But you'll just spend a certain amount of time on each side, so a minute, 2 minutes, really hammering out those calves. And forewarning, if you've never done this before, it is going to be very, very painful. All right, but that's just showing you how much you actually need to be doing this. All right, next one that we'll dig into, good old quads. Quads get heavily worked quite a bit, and so we need to make sure we're keeping that tissue loosened up and broken up. And so typically I start at the teardrop, right? And then I'm gonna get the adductors, and then I'll move over and get the quads. So you're basically getting the whole piece here. And so I'll start on the inside, which is my adductor, and I'll roll all the way from the knee up to the groin. But again, you don't have to hit the whole area. You're gonna find those really tender spots, and then once you get those tender spots, you're gonna kind of mill around those areas for a little bit, right? So there's one right there. I'm kind of just rotating back and forth. The teardrop muscle there. I'm getting that because that one's really tight. But yeah, you'll just work your way from the knee up, find those areas, spend a specific amount of time, and then when you're done there, you'll get the quad. So you can get the outer part of the quad. You can kind of flex your leg, you can straighten it out to expose different areas, but you'll work your way all the way up into the hip flexor, but primarily the quad. You'll hit the hip flexor on its own. All right, next piece is gonna be that hip flexor. So we just got the quad. Now we're gonna go ahead and get the hip flexor. And so now we're digging up on the upper piece right here, right? So oftentimes this is gonna be a very, very tender spot, but we still wanna kind of get the adductor area a little bit, so inside of the groin, and then we're gonna get that hip flexor. So upper piece of the leg here, just let it dig into that crease. And this is a good one where you're rolling inside to out, finding those tight corners. That's where you want to really focus in on. Next one, we're gonna hit the old bum. All right, so the glutes. So you'll set your foam roller on the floor. And what you're gonna do on these, you're gonna go ahead and sit on the foam roller, and you're gonna lean over to the side that you're hitting. So I'm hitting my right glute. I'm gonna cross that leg over, and that's gonna really expose that tissue a little bit better. And so now I can really start to find those tight areas. And yeah, I'm gonna spend some time on this side, and then you're gonna switch over. You're gonna get the opposite side. And this is a definite area you need to focus in on getting. So you can roll over into the middle. And again, this is gonna be different for everybody. And so you just gotta kind of roll around, find those tight areas. Other ways you could do this, if you need to get a little bit lower and get into your hammy, you sure can. So after an intensive deadlift or sprinting day, those hammies might be a little bit sore, so you're going a little bit lower below the glutes, getting the hamstrings. But typically, for a lot of people, we need more work done on those glutes. So it just really depends. You just gotta check those areas, right? But these are the glutes. Next, we'll go ahead and go into some lunge mobility, right? So this hopefully isn't a new one to you if you've been in Forge Strong for a while, but we're gonna go ahead and get in a big lunge position. So front foot is gonna be flat on the floor. I'm gonna be pushing that knee out, and we're pushing the hip forward, and we're just really mobilizing, opening up the hips. So getting the hip flexor back here, opening up the hips in the front. Again, this front foot, it needs to be flat. It needs to be flat. And then you can start moving around in this position if you're going elbow to instep, or you're kind of walking away from that front foot, rotating towards. It's just whatever you choose to do, or just opening up those hips. This is something that you should be doing daily. This big lunge mobility, opening up those hips. All right, next one is gonna be your couch stretch, all right? You can do this on a small bench, the actual couch in your home, where you put your foot up on the couch, or you can do it against a wall. That's gonna be a little bit more advanced. I'll go ahead and show you here real quick. If you can get your knee all the way to the wall, that's gonna be how you'll set up. This other foot is gonna set up here. And then typically what I do is I use a piece of PVC pipe or something to kind of anchor myself. But then you wanna make sure your core is drawn in, so you're not arching your back, but instead you're tight here. That's gonna expose that hip flexor a little bit more, the psoas, and then we're gonna get a really good stretch here, all right? Now, if that's too intensive, you can move your knee away from the wall a little bit, and then essentially we're doing the same thing. So again, we're tight in the core here, pushing that hip forward, squeezing the butt, good old couch stretch here. So this is one essential, especially if you have low back pain, different things going on like that. It's gonna stretch that psoas out, it's gonna open up the hips, it's gonna help alleviate that stuff, so make sure you're getting that done.